Your liver can only process 1 drink per hour, and I'm going to show you through science what you can actually do to speed up this process. Science. Most people think that alcohol is toxic, and it is true, alcohol is a little toxic, but it's really not that toxic compared to what it converts into in the human body, which is called acetaldehyde. Through an enzyme called ADH, it converts into something called acetaldehyde, and acetaldehyde is 20 times more toxic than alcohol is itself. So the problem here is that if you have more than 1 drink per hour, your body can't keep up with the acetaldehyde, and you'll have a toxic buildup of acetaldehyde. And what your body's trying to do is use an enzyme called ALDH, and ALDH is clearing this acetaldehyde at a rate of about 1 drink per hour. You can see is that actually just broke down the acetaldehyde and converted it into acetate, which is basically just non-toxic vinegar, and then you pee that out in your urine. Let me explain using this whiteboard. When you drink alcohol, if you have less than 1 drink per hour of alcohol, then your liver and its enzymes, ADH and ALDH, are going to be able to break down the alcohol and the acetaldehyde fast enough so that you don't have a toxic buildup of this acetaldehyde. Unfortunately, if you have more than 1 drink per hour, then you get into the red, and what happens is you'll actually have this toxic buildup of acetaldehyde. This is your total exposure to acetaldehyde, and basically the goal is to have the least amount of acetaldehyde possible because acetaldehyde is so bad for you. Now, typically your liver only has enough ALDH to break down about 1 drink's worth of acetaldehyde per hour, but I'm going to show you how we can actually circumvent this ALDH step through science. Okay, so let's take 14 grams of pure alcohol again. We have ingested this, it has hit our liver, and we have the enzyme ADH, which is going to convert it into acetaldehyde again. Now we have acetaldehyde. Now typically we would have to wait for the enzyme ALDH to break down this acetaldehyde at a rate of roughly 1 drink per hour. However, through the use of an amino acid called L-cysteine, we can actually have L-cysteine bind to acetaldehyde, and this will form a non-toxic compound called MTCA, which is effectively just a neutralized form of acetaldehyde that is no longer toxic, and then our body will then basically just pee this out in our urine. Now here's where this gets even more clever. Not only can we neutralize acetaldehyde through the use of L-cysteine, but we can actually use something called dihydromycin to speed up the rate of ALDH to convert it into acetate faster. If we actually take both DHM and L-cysteine together with our alcohol, then we can actually speed up the clearance of acetaldehyde through 2 unique mechanisms of action. So here's what's so awesome. Both of them are going to get rid of the acetaldehyde and ultimately into your urine, which you'll then pee out. This product right here is called Cheers Restore, and it's an after alcohol aid. If you administer Cheers with or shortly after your last alcoholic beverage, which is typically going to be your peak blood acetaldehyde levels, then the dual action combination of DHM and cysteine is going to reduce acetaldehyde so that you clear it out of your system faster and ultimately have less total exposure to this toxic acetaldehyde step. We mostly covered how alcohol converts into acetaldehyde, but alcohol also negatively affects your brain. And the reason is because alcohol binds to specific receptors on your brain called GABA, and that makes you feel relaxed, carefree, and generally good. But unfortunately, what goes up must come down. And so when alcohol leaves your bloodstream, you actually go into a state of rebound. And that is actually why alcohol will ruin your sleep, and one of the reasons that you feel bad the next day. And Cheers, through that dihydromycin, will actually bind to the same brain receptor that alcohol binds to, and by doing so will actually satiate this rebound so that you sleep better and feel better the next day. So if you want to learn more about how alcohol affects the brain, then go to our page to find out more. Generally speaking, most people say that they feel like they had half as many drinks the next morning when they wake up. And our claim to fame is that you will feel like you had half as many drinks the next morning when you wake up, or your money back. The reason you feel like you had only half as many drinks the next morning as opposed to no drinks the next morning is because you cannot get rid of all the acetaldehyde, but what you can do is significantly reduce those acetaldehyde levels. This product was on the season finale of Shark Tank and is now in over 30,000 brick and mortar retail locations, including Walgreens, CVS, Albertsons, Hy-Vee, Meijer, Wegmans, H-E-B, 7-Eleven, Circle K, and a whole lot more coming soon. This right here is a 1 dose, and you can typically find it in convenience stores for $5 a dose. This right here is a 3-pack, which you can typically get for $4 a dose, and this right here is the value pack where you can typically get 12 doses for less than $3 a dose. So whether you drink beer, wine, or spirits, all of it is alcohol, all of it converts into acetaldehyde, and Cheers can help you process this acetaldehyde faster so that you wake up feeling better the next day and you support your liver.